beautiful bride in the world.
Wedding fantasy Barbie.
A glittery dress, you look your best. Where is the bouquet?
Hello doll fans and welcome back to Beauty Inside a Box. Today we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking about, ding, the history and evolution of bridal Barbie on her wedding day. Because Barbie has had a long and complicated history with the concept of being a bride, being married, and as our society's relationship with marriage evolves over time, so does Barbie's. In this video we're going to explore Barbie's history as a bride, and then of course we're going to look at pretty much all of her wedding dresses from over the years. If you love dolls and Barbie as much as I do, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and check me out on Instagram and TikTok. And I'm also trying to set up a Patreon at the moment, so go and check that out as well. Anyway, let's look at the history of bridal Barbie. Oh Barbie, I thought you'd never ask. I do. Barbie, of course, has a long history with bridal fashion. She's worn hundreds of wedding dresses over her 65-year history. She's even collaborated with famous designers such as Vera Wang, Bob Mackie, and Oscar de la Renta. But Barbie may love to dress up in wedding dresses, but she will never, ever be married. And here's why. In 1959, when Barbie was first introduced, the average age for women to get married in America was at the lowest it would be all century, at around 19 years old. By the end of the 50s, 14 million girls were engaged by the age of just 17. The proportion of women attending college in comparison to men dropped from 47% in 1920 to 35% in 1958. 60% of those women dropped out of college to marry, or because they were afraid that too much education would be off-putting to a potential husband. In the 1950s, a rise in consumer culture driven by an economic boom, a population surge, and suburban development gave rise to a middle class with certain expectations about material culture and behaviour. Plus, the threat of invasion and subversion in the Cold War era led Americans to seek comfort in conformity. This led to an increased focus on the idealised nuclear family in film and on TV. Media reflected accepted social patterns and emphasised the traditional gender roles, such as men leaving their home to go and work, and women staying home to raise children and take care of the house. This meant that around the 1950s, most toys aimed at young girls would focus solely on them practicing and performing domestic chores like baking and caring for a baby. This is why, as mentioned in the Barbie movie, most dolls made in the 1950s were baby dolls. But Ruth Handler, the creator of Barbie, was about to change all of that, and the toy market would never be the same. Ruth Handler and Mattel came up against a lot of obstacles when developing and marketing the first Barbie doll. I go into a lot more depth into Ruth Handler's history in my video all about Ruth Handler. I'll put a link in the description and on the screen. One of Mattel's biggest issues when promoting the Barbie doll was that mothers were concerned that the doll focused too much on fashion and leisure and would discourage their daughter from becoming the perfect housewife, and would therefore make them undesirable for marriage. So, Ruth Handler and Mattel shifted their marketing to promote Barbie as a tool to teach proper poise and grooming habits, in an attempt to prove to mothers that Barbie would in fact help girls catch a husband. The first Barbie commercial even ends with a slow zoom in on a Barbie in a beautiful white wedding dress.
Someday I'm gonna be exactly like you. Till then I know just what I'll do. Barbie, beautiful Barbie, I'll make believe that I am you.
You can tell it's Mattel. It's swell.
And the very first Barbie introductory booklet, which was released in 1958, had a picture of Barbie in a white wedding dress on the front cover. The first ever Barbie wedding dress was introduced as a fashion pack alongside the original doll in 1959. It was originally sold for $5. This dress is absolutely gorgeous. It has a veil with a beaded headband, all these beautiful, like, lacy appliques. It has the classic 50s hourglass shape with the cinched in waist and loads of layers of tulle. It's so iconic. And Mattel over the years have made reproductions of this wedding dress many times. Ruth Handler was often quite outspoken in interviews about her disappointment and boredom with the expectation on her as a woman to become a mother and a housewife.
I loved my children, but I wasn't suited to taking care of a home.
Ruth Handler was always adamant that Barbie would never be married. Even after introducing a boyfriend for Barbie in 1961, Ruth insisted that Barbie and Ken would never marry.
Get both Barbie and Ken and see where the romance will lead. It could lead to this.
It could, but it won't. So if Barbie is never going to be married, then what's with all these wedding dresses? Well, Mattel often finds clever ways to work around this by simply using words like fantasy or dream in the title of lots of the wedding-themed Barbie dolls. This implies that Barbie is fantasizing about being a bride rather than actually getting married. Barbie represents possibility. Simply put, giving Barbie a fixed storyline, such as being married and having kids, was way too restrictive. But that definitely doesn't mean that Barbie couldn't fantasize about being a bride and dressing up in wedding dresses. In 1963, a new wedding dress fashion pack was released to replace the one from 1959. The fashion pack was called Bride's Dream. The dress had an entirely new design, but the veil was the same as the original fashion pack. The new dress had this really cool, like, layered tulle in the front. It was really beautiful. A wedding party gift set was released in 1963, which included Ken, Skipper, Midge, and Barbie, all dressed in outfits from pre-existing fashion packs. The only original accessory in this set was a tiny little yellow pillow. In 1967, Barbie got a new wedding dress in the Beautiful Bride fashion pack. It has become one of the hardest vintage Barbie wedding dresses to find because it was only made for 1 year. In 1968, the Barbie Wedding Wonder fashion pack was released. The dress looked a lot more 60s and had a less form-fitting design. I think the dress was definitely inspired by the dress Priscilla Presley wore when marrying Elvis Presley in 1967. Interestingly, in 2008, Mattel actually released a doll set of Elvis and Priscilla in their wedding day outfits. In 1970 and 1971, Mattel released 2 new wedding dress fashion packs, which I think looked very similar to each other. They were called Winter Bride and Bridal Brocade. Both had an empire waistline and were made out of brocade fabric and had fur trim. In 1971, Mattel released the Sweetheart Satin Fashion Pack with a wedding dress, which I think looks like a cross between a nightdress and like a haunted ghost bride. I'm not a massive fan of this one. In 1973, Mattel released a wedding dress as part of the Best Buy line, which was an affordable line of Barbie fashions. In 1974, Mattel released a wedding dress called Get Ups and Go, which makes it sound like Barbie is gonna leave Ken at the altar. In 1976, Beautiful Bride Barbie was released. She had rooted eyelashes. They also released the dress as a separate fashion pack. After this, Mattel would shift to creating more bridal Barbie dolls, as opposed to simply just making bridal fashion packs. But that didn't mean that bridal fashion packs would disappear completely. In 1977, Mattel released a 18-inch super-size Barbie bride doll. This was probably to compete with those other 18-inch dolls that were coming out at around the same time, like Tuesday Taylor, was that her name? Something like that. In 1978, another version of the Beautiful Bride Barbie doll was released, this time with the Superstar Barbie face mold and a new, very frilly, lacy dress. In 1979, a new set of wedding day fashion packs were released for Barbie, Skipper, and Ken. In 1972, Barbie would attend a wedding, but it wasn't her own wedding. Barbie's friends Tracy and Todd would have a set of wedding day dolls. The line would also include a whole array of bridesmaids' dresses for Barbie. In 1989, Wedding Fantasy Barbie was released with her big, puffy 80s sleeves. The dress, interestingly, looks very similar to the one that Princess Diana wore when she got married. They also released a black version of Wedding Fantasy Barbie, which I think might have been the first time Black Barbie was released wearing a wedding dress. In 1991, Barbie's friend Midge got married to her partner Alan. This line came with a whole wedding party playset, but you could also buy all the dolls separately, and there were also fashion packs made. This line even came with a chapel playset. Oh my goodness, this is so camp. I want it so badly. Also in 1991, Dream Bride Barbie was released. Then in 1992, Romantic Bride Barbie was released. I have Romantic Bride Barbie here, and she's iconic. Again, this outfit looks very similar to Princess Diana's wedding dress. There's just so many frills, big puffy sleeves, so many details. We live. So 90s. In 1993, Wedding Fantasy Barbie and Ken was released. The back of the box said, "It'll be so romantic, but for now, it's just a dream." Which, again, reminded the buyer that Barbie is not married, it's just a fantasy. Also in 1993, Dream Wedding Barbie, Stacy and Todd were released. This is a really cute set, and again, I'd love to own it, but how many different combinations of the words dream, fantasy, bride, and wedding can Mattel come up with? In 1994, Barbie was a country bride. This line also included a variant which looked like Teresa. This would be the first time they would make a Teresa doll in a wedding dress. My Size Bride Barbie was also released, and she was 3 foot tall. Wedding Party Barbie, Stacy and Todd were also released with bright yellow and white outfits. My eyes. In 1996, Dream Bride Barbie was released, and she was different because she had an updo. Rose Bride Barbie was also released. Wedding Fantasy Barbie and Ken gift set was released, and this set came with a whole load of accessories. It's actually interesting how little Ken appears in these wedding sets. It's probably because the bridal fantasy that Mattel is appealing to is more about the dress and the veil and the party than it is about the actual husband and the idea of being married. In 1997, Club Wed Barbie had a white dress with gold detailing. In 1998, another Club Wed Barbie was released with her cute, dainty gloves. I don't really know what Club Wed is meant to mean. Does anyone have any ideas? In 1999, 2 Millennium Bride dolls were released to celebrate the year 2000. Blushing Bride Barbie was also released. Dream Wedding Barbie was released in the year 2000. She had this like horrible stripy fabric on the top half of her dress. I really don't like it. It makes her look like a sailor. Princess Bride Barbie was also released, and I absolutely love her. I own this doll. In 2001, Romantic Wedding Barbie was released. Wedding Bouquet Barbie was released, and she could actually toss her bouquet behind her with her spring-loaded arm. In 2002, Sophisticated Wedding Barbie was released. Also in 2002, Wedding Day Barbie was released with 2 different versions. One which had the ability to transform her dress. I actually have this doll. And the other which the dress couldn't transform. Here is 2002 Wedding Day Barbie. I absolutely love this doll. And as you can see, you can like transform her dress, and this bit comes off as well. Yeah, so she like transforms. In 2003, Wedding Wishes Barbie was released, and I think she is so beautiful. I love this doll. In 2004, Beautiful Bride Barbie was released. In 2006, Wedding Ring Twinkles Barbie was released. She had a light up wedding ring on her hand. Bougie. This line also had a Ken doll, which came with his little brother Tommy. And this would actually be the very last time that Tommy would be included in the Barbie line. At least he got to witness his brother's wedding. In 2007, Wedding Day Barbie came with a light-up ring, but this time, the light-up ring was for you. In 2008, Wedding Day Sparkle Barbie was released with a ring for you, but this time the ring didn't light up. Big downgrade. In 2009, Barbie was a bride once again, but this time as part of the I Can Be line, which was a line normally just for Barbie's many different careers. This doll also had a brand new arm mold which perfectly displayed her massive wedding ring. There was also a wedding party set made with Chelsea, Skipper and Ken. I actually have this doll. I really like her arm. I love that the veil is hemmed. That's really nice. And this pink bow is really cute as well. She's a beautiful doll. In 2011, Princess Bride Barbie was released. They probably called her Princess Bride because this was the same year that Prince William and Kate got married, and everyone was obsessed with the idea of a royal wedding. In 2012, Bride Barbie seemed to become part of the fantasy line of Barbie dolls. She was included in marketing material next to mermaids and fairy Barbie dolls. A Teresa doll was also made wearing a wedding dress. Ken also got a white suit to wear, and he had real rooted hair. A rare version of the doll set includes Ken dressed as a prince, again going for the whole William and Kate fantasy. In 2013, Royal Wedding Barbie was released. In 2014, Bride Barbie got her biggest downgrade yet. The top half of her dress was just painted plastic. I'm so sad that Barbie does this today, but this doll did come in a box shaped like a cake, so that's kind of fun. After this, the Wedding Day Barbie sets would pretty much stay exactly the same all the way up until today. In 2018, a couple called Matt and Nick from Arizona made headlines when they created their own custom same-sex Barbie wedding set for their niece. They used 2 Ken dolls to create the set in celebration of their own wedding.
Well, prior to the party, Nick and I were like, well, what can we do to give her something that has meaning behind it? So we went online and we tried to search for something, and there really was no such thing as a same-sex couple wedding set. Right. So we reached out to Mattel afterwards, and we created these really great kind of set of our own. We customized it with 2 Ken dolls, as you can see here. Yeah. And
Hold up your Ken doll.
yes, and we sent the picture to Mattel and said, I hope this inspires you, and it did. So we're meeting with the head of design of Barbie. Can you believe that?
Sadly, I think we're still a couple years off Mattel making a official licensed same-sex Barbie wedding set. Barbie still makes wedding play sets every year, but Barbie's fantasy as a bride has mostly disappeared into the background. You don't really see commercials or any kind of advertising for the Barbie wedding play sets anymore. Still, Barbie has had a long history as a bride, but as Ruth Handler insisted, she never became a wife or a mother. Doll fans, thank you so much for watching my video all about the history of bridal Barbie. Please let me know what you thought of the dolls on this list in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, check me out on Instagram and TikTok, and also look at my Patreon. Watch some more of my videos, and I will see you real soon, doll fans. Bye! Just married.